Now to talk on the side of, or provide another perspective, maybe not necessarily on the side of government, is Mrs. Clara Dike. She's Special Advisor to the Minister of Labour. You're welcome to Sunrise Daily.
Thank you. What
precisely is government doing, to ensure that this strike is called off on the part of ASUU?
Okay. ASUU embarked on the strike on the 13th of August. And the Ministry of Labour and Employment was informed of the strike by a letter dated 10 July. By a letter, this particular letter just informed us that they're about to start back on strike. Actually, in accordance with the provisions of the Trade Dispute Act that governs industrial relation practice in this country, before a trade union goes on strike, it must inform the government or whoever, or the employer, and give adequate notice. By Section 41 of the Trade Dispute Act, normally 15 days. This was not done.
Yeah, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but you are aware in this country that, trade unions have devised another means. What they normally would do is that they never call off a strike completely. What they do is they suspend the strike. And then when government doesn't seem to be meeting their actions, they simply send a letter and they say they've resumed the strike.
Yes, you can suspend a strike when you have not gone the whole hog of the days you have given to go on strike. For instance, there's nothing like a warning strike in Nigeria. If you embark on strike for 7 days and you complete the 7 days, you have finished the strike. So there's no question of you saying you suspended the strike. You may say or claim that you have suspended the strike if you suspend that strike before the completion of 7 days. Then you can resume whenever to complete the number of days left. That one apart. You ask what the government has been doing, specifically Ministry of Labour and Employment. A meeting was scheduled and held on the 17th of August with the parties, the stakeholders, the social partners. By that I mean the employer and the union and the other stakeholders like the National Salaries, Incomes and Wages Commission. And after that, ASUU requested for 1 week to revert to their members and get back to the government. The government side waited for 12 days. Then we called and we scheduled another meeting for 29th when we didn't hear from them. That was yesterday. So we already convened for the meeting. Even the press, media, they were all there when we received a letter from ASUU informing us that they will not be able to attend the meeting with the Honorable Minister of Labour and Employment because they had transmitted their response to the government position by a letter through the Ministry of Education, Honorable Minister of Education. And we explained to them on phone that this is a strike, a national strike. And when you talk about a national strike, it's no longer a matter of internal mechanism. Now, it becomes a matter of utilizing the core instruments in industrial relations. And these basic instruments are social dialogue and tripartism. You cannot resolve strike or any form of industrial action by correspondence, by letters. You have to involve social dialogue, and I mean dialogue.
But we also understand today that the federal government, who is it the Minister of Labour or the Minister of Education, will be presenting ASUU's new demands. Maybe they're not new, but they say they're not new, but they have revised, certain minimums which they believe must be met before they call off their strike to the Federal Executive Council today. That letter of ASUU, which they claim to have written through the Minister of Education. Is that right?
I know that the government is meeting on the matter. But the claim that is going to be at the FEC level is something I cannot authenticate right here. But the government met, they've been meeting and they've been discussing the matter since yesterday, that is 29th. And the discussion continues today, and hopefully by Thursday we are going to meet again with ASUU. It's not yet confirmed, but tentatively we are going to meet with ASUU on Thursday. That is tomorrow.
That's tomorrow.
Yes, by tomorrow. We will let the media know when we are more certain of the way forward on this matter. But the issue is, ASUU is convinced that they can resolve this matter by correspondence, writing, that they've written to the government, and they will not be able to come to any meeting until and when the government responds accordingly. Industrial relations is not carried out that way. It must be based on what we call social dialogue. Every trade union activist will tell you that.
Well, we'll talk a bit more on when you say there's nothing like a warning strike. We'll talk about, what should happen if an institution feels the need to let government know that we have been very patient with you for so long, and it can get worse if you do not attend to us. We'll talk about that when we return from this break. Please stay with us.